Hi everyone, this is Diane. I finished the 2 Hummel journals and I'm very excited to get to share them with you. They will be in my shop when this video goes up. One of them is in a metal tin, which of course adds to the weight, so this will be more costly to ship, but it's an adorable journal that fits in there, and it's blue to match the blue predominant color of the tin. And then I have this pink version ready to show you. In a previous video talking about when I did the flip through of the Christmas Hummel journal, I talked about the history of the Hummel figurines, so we won't go into that now, but I will show you the journals. And before I forget, let me tell you I have some extra calendar pages, so each journal will come with 2 of these pages, because I had 2 Hummel calendars from 1977 and 1976, and I had 4 pages left over and a few other pieces left over, so each journal will come with these leftover pieces. Let's go through the blue one first. In this metal tin, the tin measures about 7 by 9, and it is vintage. It had stationery in it, didn't have food in it, and it's marked because it's old. Just want to make sure you can see what it looks like. There's a little ding right there, and the journal fits in there pretty perfectly. The inside is also showing its age. So you can keep the journal in the case, in the tin, or not. You can use the tin for something else. The journal itself measures 5 1/4 by 8 1/2. So this is the blue one. I tied it with this pretty turquoise ribbon, or seam binding, and I cut an image from the calendar. This was a plain blue book cover, and I just Mod Podged some scrapbook paper to it on the front and the back. And then I Mod Podged this beautiful Hummel image and this label. It says journal. To cover the spine, which I created with chipboard and Tyvek, I covered it with an old pillowcase piece. Really pretty. And then I added the vintage trim. Has 3 signatures, and there are 9 folded sheets in each signature, so 36 front and back pages in each signature. 36 times 3 gives you the number of pages in here. I just put some more scrapbook paper here and added a book plate. This came out of a Reader's Digest, and I love this blue swallow fabric that's on the inside of the spine. It has a 2-inch spine. I used coffee dyed scrapbook paper, and I used some wallpaper pieces and some digital linen and handkerchief pages. I didn't want to use a lot of real fabric because that really has been making my books very fat, and I didn't want to make them more than 2 inches, plus it wouldn't fit in the box if I did that. So this is a digital, or else some of them I just took some of my linens and scanned them, and I did that a while ago, so I'm not sure which was which, but I think this might be one that I scanned. Just a piece of one, and then I just took a piece of cardstock and stamped in the corner and tucked that up there. This is a piece of vintage lace, which is really, really cool. I love that lace. I bought a plastic container just full of lace at a flea market and sorted it out, and this was in it, and there was another, there were lots of gorgeous laces, but I love this one, and there was another one that I particularly liked. Might be in these journals, I'm not sure. These are some vellum stickers that someone sent me. Here's one of the calendar pages. I just decorated it with a piece of vintage filet crochet, and that is real. That's not a digital. That's the back of the calendar page. And here's one of the handkerchief linens that I used as a page. And I think I got this from Adeline Country Cottage quite a few years ago. I bought that. And I've had them printed, so I used most of them. I did some stenciling on the back. And I made some fabric tabs out of, this is a vintage piece of fabric, and it's a large tab. And I just did some slow stitching on it with just a running stitch with black embroidery floss. And there's a little snippet of this pretty lace. This is from this book. And this is where I got the history of the Hummels. And I thought it was a price guide, but it's not. It's just pictures of many of the figurines, and it has details about them here. So I used some of these pages in the journals, and here's one of them. And the person that owned that book made notes of which ones she has, so you might see some writing on some of the pages. There's a coffee dyed paper with the doily imprint. Coffee dyed scrapbook paper with a piece of vintage wallpaper as a pocket. I took a napkin and Mod Podged it to a flashcard, and you can journal on that. And then I took some of the calendar pages and cut the images out and glued them to cardstock, so you can journal on them. That was really fun to do. It's a very dark coffee dyed page there. This is the back side of a stationery piece. You'll see the image on the other side. Here's one of the handkerchief digitals. I cut the page in half and inked it and then folded it in half to be a little journaling place. And this is a calendar page that I folded vertically instead of horizontally, and I folded it up to make a little pocket there. And I didn't glue it or sew it down. I just put a paper clip on there. You can glue it if you want. It has one of these paper clips. I don't know what they're called. There's an envelope in the middle of each signature, and in each journal there is one napkin Mod Podged envelope, and the other one has like patchwork. I'll show you. I did those in a video. This was an image that someone sent me. I trimmed it down so it would fit in here, and after I sewed it, this is a napkin Mod Podged one. After I sewed it in, I glued it shut, and it was still wet, so I hadn't put that back in there yet. And on the back side is an image. Someone sent this to me too, and I just glued that on as a pocket on the back of the envelope. And I used some of the images from Mrs. Cogg's Floral Embroidery, I think is the name of that kit. It just has images from a book that feature floral embroidery. And here's the other side of the calendar pocket, and this one has a little Hummel image that someone sent me, and she zigzag stitched it to a piece of cardboard. You can write on that. It's a little big for this pocket, but since I didn't sew the pocket closed, it works. Here's the other side of that stationery with that beautiful little Hummel girl on there. There's a little fabric flip. And on this page, I just glued down a journaling card and this little piece of digital trim, which it may be from Gail Agostinelli's shop, Cinnamon Tea. I'm not sure though. I had all of these linen digitals already printed, so I just used them. Here's that handkerchief. And the other part of a calendar page. And this is a piece of wallpaper that's sewn on as a belly band. It's backed with some green cardstock. And this looks like I put some lace on it, but it's actually a little card you can pull out and write on. And the second signature has some vintage stuff on the front. This is from a vintage little date book that you would carry in your pocket. And I don't know the year. And it's in German, I think. And this is from 1872. And it's a receipt. Someone paid Mr. Biles $125 for 3 cows. And he purchased it on April 17th, 1872, and would finish paying on October 17th. This is just something I stamped and fussy cut out. Here's another calendar page with the embroidered ribbon on it. And another of the tabs, the fabric tabs with a piece of lace. This is a vintage little card with these little children. They're not Hummels, but they look very similar, and they're from the Netherlands. This card is from the Netherlands. There's a stamp down here. And on this stamp, I inked it with my vintage photo distress ink, and then just gave it a little squirt with water out of a spray bottle, just one little squirt, and then stamped it, and it just gives it this softer feeling, which I liked. Here's another piece of the stationery. I really love the stationery that I just received in a happy mail from Jean. Thank you so much, Jean. And she sent me some of the other items too, like that. She sent me a bunch of Hummel stuff just in time for these journals. This is just a little notepad that I just purchased at the thrift store. It's really cute, has a little bird. And these are some more digital trim images. Here's another one of the sprayed stamps. And this is backed with coffee dyed paper. I believe that one was from Jean too. I stamped up there. And this was the other type of envelope that I made. I showed in the video that I just traced around. I opened up the envelope and traced around each piece and cut it out and glued it on. And I really like the way it looks. It's a little fussy, which is why I decided to do the napkin ones for one of the envelopes, so I wouldn't have to make 3 of these for each journal. And again, it's got the image on the back as a pocket and the Mrs. Coggs image inside. Some little pieces of lace decorating that envelope. Such cute little images. And here's another handkerchief digi that's ready to write on. Another fabric flip. Another wallpaper pocket with some pretty lace. And this is digital that you can write on. And another image from the calendar. He's serving you some wine. And this one has this gorgeous piece of filet crochet. I don't know if it was a bookmark or what it was supposed to be, but it's definitely old. I glued it to this blue cardstock and then glued it on as a belly band and tucked this little note card. This is an Annalise art piece, so it's not Hummel, but again, it's a similar style. And the third signature has another wallpaper pocket. And this is a tag that is made out of wallpaper and cardstock. Look at that beautiful image. Love this stamp. This is a page that came with these. I think these were in a booklet. And So this is on the back of this image, but some of the pages didn't have the image, so I just tucked one in there that you can write on, and he is from the calendar. This is wallpaper. And then I made this. I showed this in a previous video. If I get it the right way. It's all in one piece with the folded paper and the tab all in one piece. Just folded it up and put this little cardstock circle and a wooden star on. I never did make one for the other journal. I made one for the Christmas journal. And then here's the last envelope, another patchwork one. I think those Mrs. Coggs images just went so beautifully with Hummel for some reason. Did a little bit of collaging on this. This is, I believe that's stamped and cut out. And this looks like ribbon, but it's a digital. Just a little scrap of paper with a number tabulation on it. Another of those Netherlands cards, and a piece of wallpaper. And then this is another belly band, but it's quite wide. It just has a Mrs. Coggs card in there. And I used one of the vintage flowers that I got in a Happy Mail. This is another, I'm pretty sure this one is from Gail's Digital's piece of linen. And it matches that end paper very nicely. And this is wallpaper with my signature. So this one is blue Hummel in a tin. It will come in the tin. Here is the pink Hummel journal. Again, 2-inch spine. It has roughly the same. I think it's just slightly like 1/8 inch smaller width-wise and height-wise. But it has this pretty rose scrapbook paper Mod Podged on it. This is a piece of a sheet or a pillowcase again. And this really pretty pink and cream vintage trim. And I put this label on it. I love this. For some reason, this just really struck me. This green leaf pattern and these roses. This is more modern looking, and this is definitely vintage, but I just loved the way it looked together. And then when I put this piece on, this is from a piece of wallpaper, and I just cut it out in the octagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the hexagonal shape. Sorry. I don't know. Before I sewed the pages in and I had this laid out on my table, I just loved the way it looked between this and this and this. Just me, I guess, but I loved it. Here's another of those pieces from Gail's kit and wallpaper tag. I'll go through this one more quickly because it's pretty much the same, just the images will be different. And it has the orangey pinky handkerchief digis instead of the blue. It has more pink tones, you'll see, in the fabrics and the inks and everything. Here's where she wrote one that she has. She said, I have this one. And then there's an X here and an X there, and I don't know if that means she wants them or what. Isn't he cute? This is a postcard, I believe. Yes. And it's not Hummel. It has the same stamps. Well, this one ended up with a blue envelope. I wonder if I got that mixed up with one that was supposed to be in the other. I didn't pay attention to the colors on the envelopes in the other book. But that's okay. They can work together. There's a piece of stationery folded up into this one. This has 2 digital pieces of linen and lace, and then just a journal card. This is just something I stamped a while ago, and I edge punched just part of it. And I just left it the way it was and glued it on there. Here's another digital. I think that's from Gail. And this is from Mrs. Cog. This is a printout of, I have this original piece. It was in the Victorian scrapbook that I got at the flea market this summer. So this is in my antique Victorian ephemera kit, I think it's called. I have a few of them, but that's in one of those kits. Look at that pretty handkerchief digital. There's a collage here with a stamp, wallpaper, scrapbook paper, and another stamped image that was cut out and glued on. This is wallpaper. Mrs. Cog image. There's the napkin decoupaged envelope. Daisies all over it. This is a smaller image, so I had to trim down this Mrs. Cog image. They all had a white border around them, and I just trimmed that off so it would fit in that pocket. This is a scrap of scrapbook paper that I've had for a long time, but it's got these lines on it that you could journal on. And here is a digital linen embroidered piece, and I stamped on that card, tucked it up there. And I think this is one that I scanned. I'm going to make digitals out of my linens. I just haven't had time to do that yet. I have a stack of stuff that I need to make digitals out of. And this is wallpaper. This is a piece of embroidered ribbon. Playing card. Wallpaper, pocket, this is a cute little card. It's not Hummel, but it goes inside. It fits in this envelope. And again, this is another one I had to cut down. This is just cut from a book. I think it was a children's book about nature. These are Hummel Holy Water fonts. Since the artist, M.I. Hummel, was a nun, that makes sense. And some nativities, or creche. So this is a scrap of the linen that I had scanned, and then a little scrap of a trim that I had put in there previously. And this is from the Mrs. Cog's embroidered flowers set. And we already talked about this wallpaper, and this is one of my gorgeous vintage wallpaper pieces that I made into a tag. I punched the hole off center, and it has my signature on the back. So I'm very pleased with these Hummel journals, and I hope you liked them. I know you didn't get to see much of the process, but I kind of had that other video made well before you saw it, and I just kept working on them. So they're ready now. And I will see you in the next video, and have a creative day. I'm leaving a link to my shop below, so you can just click on that link and go to my shop to see if these journals are still there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again. Bye-bye.